Good. I'd like to call the Finance Audit Tendering Administration Committee Wednesday, September 17th at 12:05, Parkdale Room here, City Hall. Order. Order of business, it's an open session. Number one, call to order. Call to order.
I found this on the web for how to order a business that's an open session.
Is there another charger?
That's good.
Thanks.
Okay, we're okay in the call to order.
Yes, sir.
Number two, declarations of conflict of interest.
None.
Are there any? No, I'm not seeing any. Number three, approval of agenda. Moved by Mayor Brown, seconded by Deputy Mayor.
Yes, sorry,
Hancock.
no, just
Over the top.
charger.
Right here.
Oh, okay. Talk about disrupting the meeting, I apologize, Chair. Sorry about that.
Okay, and we're good on the approval of the agenda?
Yes, moved.
Moved.
Seconded.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Yankoff. Number four, approval of the previous draft minutes of the August 6, 2025 meeting.
Moved.
Seconded.
Moved. Any, no, okay, we're good on that, and then we'll go to five.
Yep.
Business arising from the minutes.
So, Mr. Chair, on page 8, our business manager here, it says, talk with the procurement bylaw. Looking at what, 6 to 8 months for bylaw to be reviewed by legal, is that correct? I think that was stated by the deputy mayor. It's in the minutes
6 to 8 months.
to review it.
Second paragraph, page 8, on the procurement bylaw. I think that was a comment, review with the deputy, suggesting possibly that.
Right, so I do recall, Chair, through to the Deputy Mayor, there was discussion about the importance of having legal review go through the bylaw. What we are going to do, we want to have council and the Finance Committee review the draft bylaw before it does go to legal. The format of the bylaw is fairly consistent, I think, with other jurisdictions, that we don't want to have to go back to legal a second time around if council and the Finance Committee have any input from a practical standpoint in terms of how the departments can handle the tenders, and we want to identify those concerns and any amendments on the front end, and then take it to legal subsequent to that.
Any issue with that?
So there will also be a policy.
There's a draft policy as well, yes.
So to compare that to provincial or federal legislation, this would be, the bylaw is the statute, the policy will be the regulations. And I know with the province, for their procurement, you might know a little more about it too, Lane. Do they have parts or clauses that look at local support, local purchasing? So the differential, if a local bid is within 10% of a low bid from off island, is that something we're looking at?
Yes,
It
Yeah.
is.
and
Okay.
we're looking at how other municipalities are handling that as well.
Right. And it doesn't go against this, I don't know if the Atlantic procurement agreement is still in place. That was signed some 10, 15 years ago by the 4 provinces.
It still is in place, it may be by a different name, but
And is there a certain amount of money that can be spent, or is it open to all tendering? On that purchase, local purchase,
so I'll confirm that, but I think in terms of the local preference, that's up to the jurisdiction as from a scoring standpoint.
Right.
So it wouldn't be that specific as far as.
Yeah, so it wouldn't give an amount.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. And just, Mr. Chair, on page 9, the Hertz Hall, like we've been talking about this, I know it's going to Heritage. And that was supposed to be the same for the Holodomor Monument, but we found out that the property down at Confederation Landing is not Heritage property, so it doesn't have to take that route. But Heritage Hall, so if it's given the green light there, does it go back through the whole process of tendering? I don't know if it's Lane or it's the CAO. Like how long, like we're now September 17th.
Hertz Hall, your worship?
Yes, that's,
I'd have to double check this with, but my understanding was that it did go through the heritage process.
yes, but it didn't go to Heritage Board yet.
Okay,
It has to go to Heritage Board.
I can follow up on that.
Because I'd like, you know, the window's getting smaller and smaller in some of these projects. And just like to find out where we're going.
Just if I could, Manager Lane, just back to procurement bylaw, just out of curiosity, like the gentleman we had that's been part of the consult, was it Kent Thompson? Has there been any, since he was in last and the work that he's been doing from then till now, has he been part of that or just?
No, not since I took over the acting role.
Okay.
I did have a couple of discussions with him
Yeah.
and collected all the information.
Yeah, good.
that
Do you feel you
as
have
far as
everything?
jurisdictional scans and
Yeah.
if required, I can follow up
Yeah.
with them
Yeah.
again, depending on how our review of this bylaw goes, but that's where it's at in terms of.
CAO, just any input on that or comment or?
No, I think we made considerable progress on the current bylaw and looking forward to get it to our council.
Okay.
Chair, if I could just circle back to his worship's question, I just want to make sure I get the answer to it. So your worship, your question is because of the heritage designation.
There is a heritage and heritage designation to the Hertz Hall.
Your question is
That if it goes back, like it goes back to heritage, gets the stamp of approval, and it
Yep.
has to go to council to be approved.
Yep.
Does it have to go through the whole process again for Public Works? Like, do we have to go back? Like, some bids have been, we've already received bids.
Excuse me, Richard, do you want to,
What I understand with Hertz Hall, it had heritage permission to move the hall, so that it did go through, and we had a heritage approval for the movement of the hall, and now we're looking for an approval of the changes to the hall.
Right.
So as long as everything that's been tendered meets any of the heritage requirements, I would hope that we'd be able to continue on with that existing
Okay.
tender.
Yeah,
That would be my hope at this point in time.
And Mr. Chair, I'm just trying to mitigate going around this circle again. Like, we have a bid in, we've already gone to tender on it. So there's a price there. And if that price can meet the changes required under the heritage preservation bylaw, hopefully we can keep moving this project. That's what I'm asking.
Deputy Mayor, you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that the next Heritage Board meeting is scheduled for September 29th, which would mean it would have plenty of time to get it back to council. I have not seen an agenda yet. I can't say that that's on the agenda, but, you know, in terms of timelines, if we can get it on that agenda, then we get it back for the next monthly meeting of council so that we can continue to move.
No, I understand that. It's just that
Okay.
if it gets green light from the Heritage Board and then council, can we still continue on the renovations for a bid that we already received? That's all I'm trying to.
See.
I think I would agree with Richard on this, as long as it's, the heritage considerations are achievable under the tender, then.
Your understanding too.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does that clear us for business arising from the minutes? I think it does. Thank you. We go to item 6, discussion reports. We have A to D, and we'll start with A. Report on the Canada Community Building Fund gas tax update, and seems to be, I think, a pretty, not that I get a lot of familiarity with it, but seems to be a pretty good update or historical piece on this, and I'll let Lane take us through it.
Sure, thank you, Chair. So where we're at in terms of the gas tax, and to your point, it is summarized here. So the province has reached out for request for project allocations for the next stream of funding, which is about 20.8 million over the next 4 years. With respect to the annual payments. So starting in 25-26 this fiscal year, there's 3.78 million that would be issued to the province upon receipt of project allocations for the full term. So the total funds available per the agreement was about 79 million. Between 2005 and 2024, there was about 56.8 million expensed under various projects, and you'll see that as a schedule attached to the report. For the fiscal year 24-25, so we're required to have our auditors come in and audit the claims that are submitted to the province with respect to our projects, and there were 2 on the list for fiscal year 24-25, the water supply booster station rehab and the Victoria Park shoreline protection. The second one there I mentioned is complete. There was 1.1 million worth of project expenditures last year for that. For fiscal year 24-25, we have the wastewater lift station upgrades and the water supply booster station rehabilitation for a little bit over $1 million. So combined with all of the combined of actual and committed, we're at about 59 million in terms of what we spent with respect to this agreement, which left funds remaining to be allocated of 20.8. And then, so as you can see, the cash flow there is roughly between 3.7 and 4 million per year up until fiscal year 2029. And so we reached out to Public Works to determine appropriate projects to put under the allocation for the next 4 fiscal years. So you see that as a breakdown there. There's University Avenue Phase 1, North River Road, Exhibition Drive reconstruction, and Capitol Drive. And just a reminder that these are projected cash flows on behalf of Public Works, and if there are project timeline delays or adjustments, this agreement is flexible, that we can carry money forward to align with progress of the projects that are approved. And the installments paid over the next 4 years up to 28-29 is based on the funding that we will receive from the province. But these projects can extend beyond the 28-29 fiscal year. So if we get to the end of year 4 and there's still some work to be done on these projects, we still have the ability to carry forward funding for it. So in order for them to release the next stream of funding, they require us to provide them with a funding allocation for the full 20.8 million balance that is remaining. And through this agreement as well, they are flexible if we move along in these projects and either for some reason the projects are underspent, or if we want to reallocate the funding from one project to another, we are allowed to do that. We just have to fill out some documentation and get get that approved by council and by the city, and then we can reallocate funds as we move down the road in this agreement.
Chair, I just reach out to Councilor Bernard there. He was attempting to log in remotely, but I think technically we would have to restart, so I'm not sure if we're going to restart the online session as opposed to the meeting. But I think they're just trying to sort that out.
Where is he coming in from?
I'm not sure, Your Worship.
No. Well, while we're doing that, I got a lot of questions about this.
Me too.
So you wanna start it over? Let's start it over.
We'll just wait.
And then to come back.
Wait till Dylan comes back and see what,
Like, just while we're waiting. You said, see, what I'm going back to is a photo I sent to the CAO back August 29th. And it actually was sent to me by the chair. Today's announcement of over $18.75 million in federal funding through the Canadian Community Building Fund is great news for communities across Prince Edward Island. There's Sean Casey, Kent McDonald, Minister Heath McDonald, Minister Ernie Hudson, and Stratford Mayor Steve Ogden. So what was that? I wonder what that $18 million was for. You know, like, I don't know what kind of, trying to figure out how the messaging is going out there, because for 2 years during COVID, the government of the day, the Trudeau government of the day, doubled the CCBF. So instead of 3.8, it went to, or back then it was 3.4, it went to 6.8 for 2 years. And I'm assuming that's accounted in the 79,827,000, right? So funds remaining, does that mean we have $20 million left to spend?
That's correct.
Oh,
For the next 4 years.
That's good news. And but that's for the 4 years, 24, 25 to 28, 29. Okay. And if I go over your other graph on page 17, this is all the funding
Councilor
from
Bernard?
2005 to
They're working on
2024. Where is all the money that was spent on ditch infilling? What the ditch infilling? It's got street rehabilitation at 10 million. Street resurfacing at 22 million. And then there's another street resurfacing at 8 million.
Chair, I think we're just gonna proceed with this session. He's not.
So I'd like to know where on, from 2000, see, I was on council when this came through. Back in 2005, it was Paul Martin, who was the Minister of Finance, made the announcement in Hamilton at the FCN, and the next day, Prime Minister of the day let him go, Jean Chrétien let him go as Finance Minister. But that's when it started, back in 2005. But a lot of funding. I know Mr. McCunes was around when we were into this, so just trying to figure where is that ditch infilling?
Richard,
So, Chair, it was before my time, but I think it's important to recognize that this funding, formerly called the gas tax funding, represents a small amount within our overall capital budget. It's about $3.5 million that we get each year, and it doesn't really matter too much where we allocate that, other than we need to get permission to spend that money on appropriate projects. And in the past, a lot of it went to street resurfacing, and we were able to simply say, okay, we're gonna pave streets in Charlottetown. At the end of the year, we tell them which streets we paved. The process has become a little bit more challenging with respect to reporting. So that's why Public Works has looked at these 4 priority projects, confident that they would be completed and in our upcoming budgets. And it allows us to fulfill our funding requirements. So it's important to recognize that the the city is gonna spend $30 to $50 million on capital projects each year. But with this money, we wanna be able to say, okay, these are projects we're quite confident that we're going to complete. And if things change, we can change the plan. But it's really to recognize that this is a small portion of our overall capital budget, and we wanna be able to have projects that we can manage well, report easily on, and provide the information that fits into the categories that are covered by the Canadian Communities Building Fund.
So just to follow up on what Mr. McEwen said, again, if I go back to the chart, stormwater management, only $1.3 million was spent on it. And I know running as a candidate in 2010 and 2014, there was several $million that was dedicated to stormwater management. Did it all come from the CCBF? No. But there would be there'd be a percentage that would come from the CCBF. So are we saying with all the stormwater management that we did since 2005 to 2018, because it stopped in 2018, and the deputy mayor was at the table because we're not gonna do that anymore. Oh, so we arrived at the table, gonna stop it, and stopped it. So I don't think the figures, whether it's CCBF money or it's, I'd like to know the funding, if anything, I'd like to know what actually went into stormwater management. Whether it came from CCBF, it came from city coffers or water, wastewater, I'd like to know how much we spent on it. Because this doesn't tell the story.
Chair. So if you're correct, this is simply showing what our allocation was to CCBF, and it's just, again, CCBF is money that the city receives to complete infrastructure projects, and this is where the money was spent over the period of 2005 to 2024. And it's just the categories. It's just getting a bit more challenging with our reporting, what categories are eligible and how much reporting has to go into it, which is why Public Works selected the projects that they did.
But again, the stormwater management came out of capital budget. This is capital, this is not operational money. This is all capital budget. And Richard, you were here back in 2010.
Actually, I was not, but that's okay.
2012, 2014, 2018. I just wanna know if we can get a ballpark figure, whether it would fell under street resurface, like there's three here, street rehabilitation, 10 million, street resurfacing, 8 million, and then street resurfacing, 3 million. Must be different kinds of streets.
Just different streets.
Well,
And that was the difference, right? Street resurfacing, and that's where a lot of this money went to, is when we mill and pave a street,
street rehabilitation.
because we knew we were gonna be doing that every year, so that's why it was allocated to that. And then also in here is our street rehabilitation, and that's where both water, sewer, public works come together and do a whole street.
Anyways, it's in the minutes.
Deputy Mayor?
Sure. I'm just wondering, before, the 4 projects that you're allocating the money for over the next 4 years, has that been vetted through Public Works? And is that, does that go back to council for them to deliberate on those 4 projects? Chair?
Galbert or Richard?
Sure. Yes, so thank you through Councillor Hancock to the chair. It has been vetted through Public Works. Our team did look at these projects. And these have also been included in the previous 5-year plans that council has approved in principle, I think maybe 2 years ago. So these are, looking at all of those projects, we've kind of looked at these ones as some of them already have some design work that we've put into it, and others have been noticed. You know, we've done University Avenue Master Plan, Phase 1, design consulting has already went in, so same for Exhibition Drive reconstruction. We've, already almost fully designed that project too, so we have a few that are ready to go and able to spend this money within these, 3, almost 4 years, because we're coming to an end in this year's construction season. And then these have been the ones that have been picked in order to allocate all this funding, because we have a good idea that we will be able to do these streets, and they will be kind of the higher priority end for us, and also if say one of them gets moved by a year or different aspects have to be done, we know we can move a significant amount of funding between one or the other, depending on if we do it in 27 or 28 or 28 or 29.
So just to follow up, Chair, if I could, so it's been vetted through your department as well as it's gone through committee as well?
It has not gone through committee this round. It has just been vetted through our department and with water and sewer as well. The previous master plan, which included these streets as part of the 5-year reconstruction plan, was vetted before through committee and I believe through council as well in previous years.
But to your point, Deputy, I think, wouldn't we all kind of recognize, I think these four have all been, very much talked about at committee and at council, and
Yeah.
that they've been kind of deferred. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any of them there that you could, in my opinion, that you could maybe take exception to, but
Yeah.
anyway.
I just noticed that, like, as Albert said, they have been brought back through water and sewer, and I just, from a committee structure, I just wanted to make sure we were just following process
Process.
correctly, yeah.
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 I went through the right process. Richard?
So Chair, it goes through Finance Committee, then it goes to Council. I believe you need a resolution in order to support this funding application to the Infrastructure Secretariat. So from here, it goes to Council for Council's approval.
Well, Mr. Chair, I had some questions about it, because Capitol Drive Phase 1, that's an extension of Capitol Drive, Spencer Drive, correct? I hope it is.
Yes,
Because we did have it in the budget.
Yes, this Capitol Drive Phase 1 is from considering future work from University Avenue to North River Road and goes in conjunction with North River Road master plan, so that is the next kind of corridor, high traffic area that we're considering work.
Okay, so 2 years ago, we had Spencer Drive in the budget. Mr. McCune was here.
Correct.
Then we took it out. Like, Mr. McCune, let me just finish. We took it out. Wasn't put back in this year. Then the developer, along with some other developers that are trying to develop that land north of Spencer Drive, had made comments about a council who's redirected money from Spencer Drive to a artificial turf field. So this, I think for SHIF, under the Canadian Housing Infrastructure Fund, we did apply for funding. So if we applied for funding, that SHIF is not gonna cover the whole cost of that extension.
That's
Like, we see, and again, we went through this before, guys. We went through this on the Belvedere roundabout. And Mr. McCune was around the table, roundabout. We're gonna wait for the money to come from the feds. Well, this is money coming from the feds. So finally, we had to put the money on the table and do the roundabout. That's what we, so sometimes you just have to shake the piggy bank to say, let's make this happen. So if Capitol Drive Phase 1 means between Northwood Road and University Avenue, that's not what we voted on 2 years ago, and Mr. McCune was here with a former, I think, manager of Public Works, and we had it in the budget, and then it went out of the budget.
You're talking about the 3 million?
3 million, yeah.
Director Richard?
So, Chair, we have a funding application in through another stream that will hopefully support Spencer Drive. So we wouldn't want to give up that funding and then lose the money that we could put to another project. Every opportunity we have to seek funding from the provincial and the federal government, we want to take advantage of. And I wouldn't want to give up the money for that one to put it in here. That Public Works is being strategic with their ask. They're looking at projects that fit this funding model. And when we have a project that can fit another funding model, that's why we include it there.
So what, can I just finish?
Yeah.
So Mr. McCune is suggesting we can't stack it. Is that what you're saying? Have we already checked that out?
But it's not even
No,
stacking.
just, have we checked it out?
It's
Can
not
we stack?
stacking, it's a different fund.
No, I know, but, but they're both federal funds.
Can't stack.
You know that.
I know that. We have to make our contribution to that other funding piece. And why would we give up that money?
Because we don't know if we got it.
Correct. But if
We don't know, and
and
when
we
when
can-
will we find out? We don't know. Again, Mr. Chair, we talked about doing this Spencer Drive. This the second east-west connection. We only have one east-west connection. That is Beasley, Allen, and Kirkwood. That's the only one. Like, we need that east-west connection, and it has to be on the north end. That was the purpose of it, and plus, it's about developing, I'd say, Rick, it's too bad that Michael wasn't here, but we're looking at about 11 to 1,500 units, housing units.
Hence why we have it under the other funding program.
But if it doesn't go through, then we've already committed 25, 26, 26, 27, 27, 28, 28, 29 to these four projects.
Plan can change.
Oh,
That was
says you?
said.
Well, I'd like to have a say in it. Can I have a say? I'd like to have the project here.
Which Spencer Drive, is that what you mean?
Yes. It can't, guys, we've been going back and forth on this, and okay, it's shift now, it's CCBA, or Canada Communities Building Fund, CCBF. Like, we need to make it, we made a commitment and then we dropped it, so.
Manager Lane.
So, Chair, through to your worship, so as far as the gas tax funding is concerned for 25-26, as you recall through budget deliberations, we didn't budget for funding received from gas tax this fiscal year. So based on this plan, we would recognize 1.4 million in revenue associated with gas tax, a little over $1 million associated with the commitments that we have this year for wastewater lift station and the water supply booster station, and then 400,000 for the four projects noted below, 3 of them commencing this year. So that's 1.4 million that we would take in as revenue, which would reduce which basically goes against our capital budget. So if it was the desire of the committee or the desire of council to take that surplus, that 1.4 million in revenue, and apply that, basically do a budget transfer, an expenditure transfer towards another project within the capital budget, we're well within our means to do that. This is for purposes of us being able to collect the gas tax funding, which at the end of the day will translate into revenue that will go against our total capital budget envelope. And if that allows us to do a funding transfer to apply funding towards more projects considered more of a priority or requiring more cash flow this year, then we have the ability to do that.
CAO, Brad, and then Albert. CAO.
Well, I just wanna understand Lane's comments, so, and taking worship's comments also, but so is the idea, Lane, like for me, it would make sense to try to get this federal funding, but what you're saying is if we can't, then we could also transfer money to make that happen? Is that what you're saying?
Right, so the 1.4 million revenue is not factored into our capital budget this year. So if we're gonna recognize that money this year, that means that there's 1.4 million that would be available to reallocated to another capital project.
Albert.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. So I just, in speaking to this, I just want to reiterate Richard and Lane's and comments there. So these 4 projects that we have picked strategically because we see these as high priority projects over the next 4 years. That isn't to say that these, take higher initiative than other capital projects, and every one of these projects will come back to committee, to council for approval as the costs come in. These are cost estimates at the end of the day. We just, in picking these 4, we have the flexibility in speaking to the funders here to be able to move funds between these projects. I personally feel that we wouldn't want to take one of these projects away, because at the end of the day, these are all projects that will be funded by the city, and we're looking for external funding. Whether you say that funding is going here or somewhere else, when we're filling out the forms, it is for these projects. So if Spencer Drive, it does come back, best case scenario, we get the funding through that other source, then we also get the funding through here and we have them all covered. If we end up not getting funding for Spencer Drive through there, we still have received this total amount of funding, so I think it would be a waste to take that risk, double dip when we know that we can't stack it, and then, have not be able to claim this total amount in the 4 years.
So with Schiff, we made application. Have we followed up on the application? Mr. McKeown?
We have been advised that we should hear in September or October.
Okay, so we're in September, October. So if I look at Exhibition Drive, we budgeted 100,000 for 25-26. Do you see that, Albert?
Yes.
But in our budget document, it was 750. Now, are we taking into account the transfer that we took from that for the sidewalks?
Again, not to get confused with our internal capital budget, which currently doesn't show how much funding is being shared or allocated. This projection is from, a week or 2 weeks ago for CCBF funding. And this is showing how much money we can actually realize towards these projects in these fiscal years. So we know now that Exhibition Drive, we're leaving $100,000 there because we know that at most before the end of the 2025-26 season, that's how much money we will anticipate spending on that.
But just from the last Public Works Committee, or maybe at this committee, we took that 750, did we take the whole value? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
No,
did.
we did not, no. We
The
took
CCBF
470.
470, okay. So, Capital Drive Phase 1, we have to have Spencer Drive there after, are we looking at mid-October with a response from Chip? Because I know what's gonna happen, we'll come back to this meeting in October and say, no, it's gonna be maybe in November. Like, guys, we need what's the compass here? We need.
The other point I'd just like to make on Spencer Drive is, again, saying that these are estimates is our best estimate, and Spencer Drive is still not fully, we are still waiting to based on how much partner funding we get from that initiative and what they say, and then figuring out the other, how this cost sharing or anything is gonna happen, so we wouldn't be able to give a full number to Spencer Drive if we consider it as one of these four, and I don't know which project we would take off here.
So
then
Mr. Chair, my last point is, the former chief engineer must have had a price, because he submitted 3 million. So there must have been something there. There must be some calculations that we can find how he came to that 3 million. Maybe we'll have to look for that too, but thank you.
But the pending application that's in, Richard or Albert, for, let's call it Spencer Drive extension, is there a dollar number on that? If we got what we asked for, like how many?
13.
There is a number.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
There is a number.
There is a number, I don't have the exact number on hand. We can
Can
find
follow
out.
up? Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion on this? Okay, move to 6B.
Well, we need a resolution for council.
Excuse me, thank you.
I'll move it on to council. Yeah, move.
Moved by
Yeah.
Mayor Brown,
I'll second it on to council for,
second.
Yeah.
All those in
And
favor?
just with the resolution on the floor, just a question to the business manager. Page 15, unallocated carryover funding, so we have 1.7 million. And you've distributed some of that money into these
That's correct. It's included,
100, 200, 100?
it's included in the 20.8 million total.
Okay. The 1.7?
Yes.
Carry.
and just, if I could speak to this too, just so I'm clear, I'm supporting this resolution and staff's recommendation, but this does not take away from the necessity and importance of Spencer Drive. Is that correct? So that's still not, I would hate for us to come back 6 months, no, we're not doing it again this year, so I just wanted to make sure that we're just dealing with this today.
Yeah, well, there's, again, as discussed, there's the pending application on that project. Open,
Thank you.
there's maybe an answer for October's meeting.
Gotcha.
Okay, so we can go to 6C. No, I'm sorry, 6B, long-term debt tender award. Lane.
Thank you, Chair. So, the city went out in August of this year to seek a long-term debt financing to support our capital expenditure budget. This went out in August, and we received 5 responses from BMO, CIBC, National Bank, RBC, and TD Bank. Respondents were required to provide a swap rate loan facility combined with a credit spread for an all-in rate with terms of 5, 10, 15, and 20 years with a 25 and 30-year amortization period. So the quoted interest swap rate from July from the RFP was 3.46 with an all-in rate of 4.16. And that was provided by RBC. We did follow up yesterday to check to see what the rates were as of yesterday in terms of the swap rate, and it was here. So as per the quote that we noted in the response, it was 3.46, and yesterday it was 3.39. So if we used that rate today, it would be an all-in rate of 4.09%. So in review of all of the submissions, RBC had provided the lowest all-in rate and provided the lowest credit spread of 0.7%. RBC is flexible with respect to the drawdown dates, which would align with the city's volatility on cash flow. The interest costs associated with this long-term debt is included in the 25-26 operating budget. So we're asking for the committee's support to remove onto council a resolution to approve this new string of long-term debt to support our capital expenditure.
Moved. So moved, seconded by the mayor. All those in favor?
Just on it, Mr. Chair, we discussed this prior to the meeting.
Yes.
So the new Bank of Canada rate is 2.5 today.
Reduction?
Yeah, it's down to 2.5. So borrowing from the banks would be 3.5 if I went to like a good customer, not a AAA customer like the city of Charlottetown, but would it be 3.5, 3.9? What's your best guess?
I can't really comment on that. I would anticipate that the swap rate, the market rate, would be favorable given today's determination
Right.
with the Bank of Canada. The big thing that we look at, if you look at all of the banks' responses, they're all quoting the market rate. It's the credit spread is where we look at for the banks in terms of, and that's where they apply their assessment in terms of risk associated with the city. So I do anticipate that we'll see a more favorable rate as a result of today's announcement, but I wouldn't have a.
And this doesn't go into effect until we sign it.
And correct.
This could be a week or two by the time we sign it.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So
Which might
so
allow
the rate
for,
will continuously change.
with that lag time, it may allow for some creeping in of the recent decision.
Right.
Exactly.
You wanna borrow more?
We all good on that update? Any questions to Blaine or anyone else? Thank you. So again, we do that require a resolution?
Yeah. Move second.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Yankoff, seconded by Mayor Brown. Thank you, Lane. Keep up the good work. You're doing awesome. Okay, so. And Lane, the 6C is the proposed amendments to the schedules of the fees.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Bylaw,
So,
20, yeah,
sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
So this is basically a housekeeping item. As part of the budget process, this resolution should have been provided as part of the budget approval. We're required as per the fees bylaw to update the fee schedules that are attached to the bylaw. And with transition, me coming on later in the process and seeing that, I believe it was later coming to council last year for approval. It was later. Yeah, so we'll make efforts to include that as part of the resolution for next year. And actually, I believe at the resolution we provided as part of the budget deliberations, we had put in there that basically that if any fee adjustments or increases were to come to council, that the resolution at the time be directing staff to amend the schedule of fees, so it can automatically happen rather than trying to do it as part of the annual budget process, just to ensure that it gets covered in a timely manner.
We good with that? Any discussions, questions on the fees?
I just wanted to go to page 30. Page 30. And it's fees for structure for parking fees, parkades, electric vehicle. So municipalities, I think Fredericton, they own their own parkades, I think. Don't know about Moncton. Halifax, I think, is a mix, a hybrid. And I'm not asking you, this is something we want to look into, but are these comparable fees with other jurisdictions, or is it something that you just can't compare because of the size of the municipality, and there could be, there are private and there are public parkades. But I think monthly rate for our parkades is $115, correct? That's what it says here. Daily rate is $8.75 and hourly rate is $1.25.
So those would be approved as of March 31st. They'd be part of our budget.
And the electric vehicle charge and non-parking meter locations. On the $3, do we collect that, or who? For those 19 EV chargers we have, I've asked this before. Are they our chargers, or do they belong to MECL or Flow, or do we know, Richard?
Chair, through to your worship, there was recently a report through Environment and Sustainability
Yeah.
that we can bring to your attention to look at the revenue and in support of these rates that has already taken place and come through committee.
And they're just like, I'd like to find it, are they comparable to other jurisdictions in the region?
We want that information, worship, before the next schedule tables?
Nope, it's just, these are just fees
FYI?
going, these are FYI, these are just fees going through anyways.
We good on that?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And Lane, 6D, update committee on matters of interest.
Thank you, Chair. So included in this report are the standard reports that we provide every month in terms of a list of the tenders that are currently in motion throughout our process. As well as the monthly financial report for the month ending July 31st. So just a couple of things to draw to your attention. The fiscal 24-25 year-end audit is underway. MRSB was on site last week. We are still working with them to finalize their queries as they go through the audit. In consultation with them, financial statements are not going to be available by October 15th. So we're aiming to bring them forward to council at the November council meeting and finance committee meeting. And we will advise the province of our tentative date. Under the procurement bylaw, so as noted before, the senior administration team has gone through this. We've also provided a brief survey to the Construction Association of BEI, the Greater Charlottetown Area Chamber of Commerce, as well as those who have registered on our procurement website for just general feedback on the procurement bylaw. So the next step for us is we want to incorporate this into a report with the draft procurement bylaw and policy for Finance Committee to review. I was aiming to have it on the agenda for this meeting, but it was too heavy with the other items, and we want to make sure that we're well prepared to have a good discussion on that. So we're aiming to provide that. We will be providing in advance of the next Finance Committee meeting, but we want to allocate some considerable time on the agenda just to review that with you folks.
Wayne, has there been much engagement? Can you tell when you reached out to
On the survey,
stakeholders or?
no, there was only 6 responses provided. And we did keep it open-ended in terms of just if there was anything that they wanted to see in the new.
Anything constructive come in?
There was some, with respect to process, there was some comment with, in terms of amendments, feedback that the window between amendments and the deadline for submitting the actual tender on the website was a little bit too tight. So we are taking a look at that. That was basically it.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Brown?
just go through your, I think this is part of section, or is that under community of interest, your update in the projects, is that D or that C?
Sorry for the update on the,
Projects, is that the next one, update to committee on matters of interest?
that's this report.
That is,
Yeah.
okay, good. Can I just go to page 33? You have removal of 3 residential structures. So that is, 2 of them are related to Spencer Drive, one's related to Maple Avenue. Have we received word on when we're moving on that? I know that we want to get past that opening of school. Are we close to it?
It's not out right now.
That was Mala.
Chair, we're looking to have that posted this week.
Are you? Okay, and then under page 32, 5 and 7 Mount Edward Road, bus depot, are we doing renovations to that, or, I know we're not replacing it.
We're just waiting so that's part of the public works budget. That is on the current building that's there. So doing
Some
maintenance
upgrades?
to the current building, yes, that will be going out. Just
Thank you.
Janitor Lane.
Sorry, just when you're asking me the questions about the survey, I didn't want to leave anything out here. Just as I mentioned, there was feedback with respect to there's at least 3 business days between the final addendum to proponents and the submission deadline. There was a concern there. There was also a concern about electronic procurement in terms of providing hard copies, which we've taken under advisement, and we want to proceed with looking at an e-procurement solution to improve the efficiency there. And actually, the one of the other responses that we received, the written responses, was basically the same thing, that Charlottetown should have an e-procurement
Should have a
site
what?
versus an e-procurement site versus
hard copy?
not a tendering platform. You don't have a tendering platform right now where you can upload.
Well, I made this comment earlier at the senior leaders meeting that, you know, since COVID and one of the transitions in COVID, like, become a public expectation for, you know, for all levels of government to have more accessible services. We've shown through COVID that we could flex fairly good. I think that's created a desire to have more services delivered where people are at as opposed to them. So, you know, I think that would be meaningful feedback, you know, that we should try to achieve at some point to create a platform and a level of service delivery that's meeting, taking services to people that need them as opposed to them coming for us to service.
So is that somewhat the equivalent of, like in our planning, we're trying to get e-applications and e-permits? That would be a similar sort of
Yeah.
e-thing with tendering, is that kind of?
Yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah.
some kind of committee going through, don't you, on the whole umbrella
Yeah.
in that world?
Yeah, so it's really, it's about looking at innovative ways to deliver services, right? So, but again, you know, I think that's the kind of feedback that validates, you know, what we're trying to achieve.
Deputy?
Just to flag the idea of the whole online portals and the making it easier, as the CAO said, meeting people where they're at. We just don't wanna ever get in the situation where we eliminate the real face-to-face ability to, because there are still a lot of people in our population that still prefer to have that face-to-face or telephone, someone to answer the telephone, so that they can go through it that way too. So as long as we're not aiming in that direction where it's all going to be on these online portals, I think that it's important that we find that hybrid approach.
Hybrid, yeah, for sure. No, good point. Thank you. And
Just,
update?
Mr. Chair, on the last, street resurfacing package C, I see it closed yesterday. It says here September 17th, so that's in the spreadsheet, so it closes tomorrow.
Closes today,
Yeah.
sorry. It's today.
Yeah, so
2 p.m.
just doing some calculations, in 2024, we spent roughly $4.1 million on package A, B, C. Correct those figures if they're wrong. And for 2025, for package A and B, we're at 3.7 million. But in the budget, we have 5.1 million. And I know there's engineering in that, so anxious to see what comes up tomorrow. Just to pave as many streets as we can because
Yeah, so C, the dollar value in C must be what, roughly?
I don't know yet.
The tenders close at 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it closed today.
Alright. Okay.
Don't try to crystal ball it yet.
Okay,
Not
okay.
yet, not yet.
Getting that funny looks. Okay, how are we? Good? Are we good to go to 7? Agenda introduction of new business?
I was gonna introduce the audited statements, but Mr. Pino already told us that it'll be coming in November. Thank you. That's great.
So, and what about number 8, adjournment? Anybody on for that?
Moved.
Seconded? Okay, it's gone. Thank you. One more.